Hey mamas! Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 exercises that I'm doing to prepare for my third and final C-section. These exercises are the best exercises you can do to prepare your body and mind to have a strong and peaceful C-section and accelerate your recovery postpartum. I'm a 2-time C-section mom and this will be my third, and this is what I'm doing currently to help prepare my body for that C-section and accelerate my recovery afterwards. So the first exercise, and it might not be what you would think as a typical exercise, but that is breath work. So breathing, it seems rudimentary, but this impacts so much of your core and pelvic floor during pregnancy and postpartum. And with a C-section especially, you have a tendency to have more pressure out on that linea alba, on the midline of your core, than down in the pelvic floor. So we really want to work on breathing to help properly contract and relax the deep core and pelvic floor muscles in preparation for that C-section. That muscle memory is going to carry over to that postpartum period, help us avoid severe diastasis recti and the appearance of that dreaded mommy pooch that is caused by it, and then accelerate our core healing and accelerate all the things we want to feel in our bodies when we're postpartum. So I'm gonna show you how to properly breathe. Again, this sounds like it would be easy, but it takes a lot of retraining because a lot of times we breathe out through the belly or shallow through the chest. So what I want you to think is an expansive breath. So you're wrapping around the rib cage, expanding laterally through the ribs and into the back, down into the pelvic floor. So that way we're releasing that tension, that pressure, and then as we exhale, we're contracting gently through the pelvic floor and deep core muscles. Now you can do this seated or in standing or in a hands and knees position. So I'll show you both. So first, from a seated position, I want you to place your hands on your rib cage. You can place one hand around the ribs and then place one hand on the belly. So you want to feel the belly expand a little bit, but you don't want to feel a lot of pressure out. You also don't want to feel a ton of pressure down. You want to feel that inhale, go into the lateral rib cage. You want to feel this part of your ribs and the back expand. So on your thumb, you should feel the back expanding. On the fingertips, you should feel the rib expanding laterally through that rib cage. You should feel a little bit of belly expansion, but not a ton of pushing out through the belly, and you shouldn't see the shoulders rise a ton either. So check yourself in the mirror. So we want to breathe out. That nice exhale out through the lateral rib cage into the back body, down into the pelvic floor. Exhale, and we want to scoop the pelvic floor in and up. And you saw my ribs come inward, that angle close, and then that core brace. So my belly is still there. You can still see that, but I'll show you here from the side as well. When I'm inhaling, there's just a little bit of expansion in the belly. Most of it's going out. And then I'm exhaling again, scooping that pelvic floor in and up, closing the ribs. Hands and knees, it would look like this. And what I like to do is spend some time here. So maybe 2 or 3 minutes, you focus on that expansion of the ribs, releasing that pelvic floor, contracting that pelvic floor. And that's what we're gonna do during a lot of our exercises, is focus on that nice, strong brace. And then we want to transfer that over, not just during exercise, but during everyday life activities. It's so important. And of course, you're not going to go around all day long breathing like that. It would be a little bit ridiculous and a little bit too time consuming. But when you're relaxing on the couch, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're getting your kids dressed, can you stop and take a minute when you're sitting in the car to take some deep breaths, focus on breathing into that diaphragm, because that is what is going to keep your core strong and functional, and again, prevent severe diastasis recti, severe prolapse. That is so key for a C-section mom and really anyone who is pregnant and gonna be going through that postpartum period. So we're gonna continue moving on into our next exercise, and this is really a couple different things, but deep core work would be my next exercise, the best thing you can do outside of the breath work to prepare for your C-section, to go in strong. And then of course, that muscle memory is going to carry over into the postpartum period. So deep core exercises like dead bugs would probably be my #1 choice. So we're gonna start over on our back. And if this exercise aggravates you, if you cannot lie on your back, I'm gonna show you some other options. But for generally most women during pregnancy, you can lay on your back for short amounts of time. What we're gonna do is take that deep breath in, lateral rib cage expansion into the back. Deep breath out. Exhale, engage core and pelvic floor. Now we're gonna keep that brace, lower back toward the mat. We're gonna lift one knee and then place it down. Lift one foot, place it down. So you don't have to really focus on a lot of movement here. I want you to focus on stability through your trunk. So that lower back pressing gently toward the floor. We're not forcing it. We're not gripping the abs here. We're just maintaining that nice neutral spine, that core brace, and we're continuing to breathe. But what you don't need to do is take those deep breaths in and out the whole time. You want to hold that core and pelvic floor contraction as you move. And you can do little movements. You can do a little bit bigger movements with that knee coming all the way over the hip if you feel ready for that. So that would be one example of an excellent deep core exercise you can do to prepare for your C-section to get that core strong. Another example of a core exercise that I always include in my postpartum and prenatal workouts is a bird dog. So what you're gonna do is bring your hands under shoulders and your knees under your hips. You're gonna take that deep breath in and out, engaging the core and pelvic floor. And you're gonna lift your front arm and your back leg up and then come back down gently. Knee comes under hip, hand under the shoulder. And then your leg is going to hip level. Your arm is going to shoulder level. As you lift, exhale, feel that gentle lift of the pelvic floor, that nice core brace, and then come down. And this is also a great exercise. If you have had C-sections before, it's gonna help mobilize that scar tissue as well. And we can work on that during pregnancy. So we're using our breath here. And again, we're focusing on that nice movement through the rib cage. We're focusing on balance and stability, which is again going to make our core strong and resilient, help us prep for that C-section, and then help accelerate our healing postpartum. And the stronger we are in preparation for that C-section, the quicker we are going to recover. And this is not a bounce back thing, it's a fact. I was up walking, as I'm sure most people are, within a few hours of my C-section. They encourage you to do that, but I felt like I really had not had major abdominal surgery because I felt so strong in my core and pelvic floor. And that's not to say that it was an easy recovery necessarily. There were hard things about it, but I will say I felt stronger much faster, especially after my second C-section, because I was a little bit more prepared and had been doing more of this deep core breath work and mobility, which comes to our last exercise. The third exercise I would recommend, one of the best things you can do to prepare your body for a C-section and accelerate your recovery is actually mobility. So what we're gonna do is mobilize specifically the upper back. Now that tends to get really tight when you're pregnant. If you think about it, a pregnant woman, your posture is compromised by usually growth in the front of the body. So your breasts, your belly, lots of pressure going out here causes our spine to get tight. Especially in that upper back, we tend to take a forward posture, forward head posture, and a rounded upper back and a curve through that mid upper back. So what we wanna do is try to correct that by opening up that upper spine with some just gentle mobility exercises. So one of my favorite ones to do is a thoracic cat-cow. So it's similar to the yoga cat-cow, but it's more focused on that upper spine. So we're gonna come back to hands and knees here. Deep breath in, deep breath out to engage the core and pelvic floor. And all we're doing is gently looking up. Again, we're tilting the pelvis down just a little bit, creating a little bit of arch in that back, but it's more about the upper back. So I want you to think about pulling the shoulder blades down and back, looking up, exhaling, round the upper spine. Really focus on that nice big rounding of the upper spine. And let's keep moving through that. So we don't want to hold at the top or at the bottom here. Once you kind of get a feel for it, just keep moving through. And just do what feels good here. You can even go side to side, play around with it a little bit. Again, a couple minutes per exercise, even 30 seconds is gonna be great if you can do that maybe when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed, anytime you're feeling tension, which if you're pregnant, that's probably a lot of the day. So these are just little things you can do throughout the day and incorporate into your daily routine. And it's gonna help increase your comfort so much during pregnancy, in addition to helping you prepare for that C-section. It's gonna improve core function so much. A lot of times people don't realize that upper back tightness can really hinder the way our core and pelvic floor functions. So another other thing I like to do is, again, starting on the hands and knees, and you could also do this in standing if you need to. You're gonna take one hand to the fingertips to the temples, and we're gonna twist toward the front of the room and then tuck that elbow under, rotate through that thoracic spine to the back of the room, and that elbow is gonna kiss the back inner elbow here. So again, looking up, just creating that little bit of space in the upper back here. Exhale as you rotate. And we're getting a little bit of oblique and deep core work here as well. As we rotate, we want to brace that core. And we're not holding that rotation, for the record. It's not like a spinal twist where we're holding that twisting position. We are just moving through that mobility wise. So you're going to do each side. So you'll do the front and then the back. Same thing here. Just trying to open up that thoracic spine, really get that rotation going and mobilize things. So that way we can, again, have a strong, resilient core and pelvic floor to prepare for that C-section. And that is going to be it for our 3 exercises. These are the best things that you can do, again, to prepare your core and pelvic floor, including your body and your mind for the C-section. I know C-sections can be really daunting, and a lot of times it feels like there's not a lot you can do to prepare, and a lot of times your doctor won't give you anything to prepare. But I'm telling you right now, if you do these 3 things, it will not only help you feel strong and confident going into the procedure, but afterwards you're gonna feel much more strong and confident, and your body will literally have the muscle memory to come back when you're cleared to exercise again and do these same things and heal faster, feel more confident, feel strong and at home in your body again. And that's my goal, and I hope that's what you take away. It's all about feeling good in your body and appreciating and respecting what it is doing, growing a human and taking care of that human. So thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, hit the subscribe button below. And if you're curious as to more of my workouts, I've got them linked below in the playlist, including tons of C-section workouts that you can do now leading up to your C-section and postpartum, again, to help you recovery and rebuild strength postpartum. Thanks for being here, guys, and I'll see you back here for our next workout together.